G'day, welcome to the video on how to iron Australian DPCU trousers. First of all, we'll start with the preliminaries. If this is a new set, with a new set you want to name it. So put your name on the inside of the band. Okay, don't put it on the inside here, it'll more than likely transfer to the outside and you just look like a dill. And also name your sets. So with this set, we'll give it a Delta. Okay, and we name the same, mark the same Delta onto the shirt, have it as the same set. If it's new, chuck it in the wash. Probably wash it once, at least once is the minimum, twice is a good idea. So once we've named and washed it, the next thing we do is go through and get rid of all the thread. So after you've washed it, especially after you've washed it, you'll notice it's a really big thread fest on the trousers themselves, all around the belt loops, pockets, all the seams, and on the back there's a lot of threads. So just go through, use your lighter or your nail clippers and get rid of those. Once you've done that part of it, we can then set up and start the ironing process. I'll go through and show you how to do that right away. Okay, we've got the prelims out of the way. We'll go through and start ironing now. So once again, a systematic approach to ironing. We're going to use the narrow end of the ironing board for the first part. So what we do is we grab the trousers and we slide them over the narrow end, and we line up the seam here with just the edge of the ironing board. We're going to concentrate on ironing this part of the trousers. And most importantly is we grab the pocket, the inner part of the pocket, and move that out of the way. So we leave ourselves a nice flat surface to which we can iron. See there? You just drag our hand across it, make sure that there's no wrinkles that will come through, and you can then start ironing. So with the ironing process, the technique we use is iron, and because we've got a steam station here, the steam is really good at getting rid of the wrinkles. So iron, then if we need to, we apply a slight jet of water and then go back over and iron again. So anywhere where there's the wrinkles is where you need to iron. Get the water onto the wrinkles and place the iron. With a steam station, especially with this model here, very good at ironing. I hardly ever need to use water at all. I just place it on with the iron itself. Okay, once we've done that part, we then rotate it. Okay, and we can do part of the pocket as well. Once again, make sure it's nice and flat. Iron. Okay, once again, check if there's any wrinkles. If there is, water, and then re-iron. And we rotate on to the next part, once again still at the back. Okay, you just take your time and you line it all up and make sure everything's nice and flat before we commence ironing. That's the secret to ironing. Okay, with the pocket here, make sure your button's always done up. And don't iron over the top of the button. Okay, getting the iron in to all those areas where the wrinkles are. Noticing how all these wrinkles, just apply a bit of tension and make sure that it's nice and flat. And get the iron in there. Get rid of all those wrinkles. Okay, the technique once again is iron, then if you need to, spray, and then iron again until all the wrinkles are out. So we're pretty good, pretty happy with that. We move on to the front part. We've now essentially done the whole front half of the trousers. Once again, get that pocket out of the way. It's nice and flat. Iron, apply tension where necessary to make sure it's nice and flat. There we are, lovely. We can now move on and do the pockets. If we need to, we have a look at the pockets. We'll use it. We rotate it off, place it onto the ironing board and do the pockets. So we'll go on with that. And so we've lined up the seams. So these seams to seams. And we'll just quickly give the pocket an iron. Sometimes you may not need to do this because you've ironed it from the front part already, but if it does look like it does need an iron, then you do that. And do the same with the other side. Once you've done that, you move on to doing the legs. So we'll go on with moving it. Reposition. This time we're using the whole ironing board, so we can make sure that we get all of the leg nice and flat. So we've got the seams lying nice and flat. This is how we're going to iron it. So we've already ironed this part of it, so we all need to just concentrate on this part down. So the knee on the DPCUs and the AMCUs for that matter always bunch up. So that's an idea, just to push it all in and make sure you have a nice flat surface before you begin to iron. So we've got a nice flat surface and we start to iron. Now, the best thing about using a steam iron is you only need to iron the one side, because the heat, the steam and the pressure that you apply transfers onto the other side of the leg, which cuts your ironing time in half. Okay, if you didn't have a really good iron like this one, then you'd have to flip it over and do the other side. Okay, so the technique that we use here is iron, then water spray, and then iron again. Using a steam station, you really don't have to use a lot of water. So I can see now that this does not need to use water, and it's a really good product. Okay, bearing in mind, if you had to flip that over, you'd have to iron the other side, which can be quite tricky because you've got that bunch up here as well. So you need to do the same thing on the back, bunch it up, and then iron it as well. But having used the steam station, we're all good to go, and we would repeat the process with the other leg. Okay, once we're happy with that, we can then hang up the trousers, and there's a couple of different ways we can do that, and I'll go through that and show you right now. Okay, so we've ironed our trousers, now we come to the part where we're going to hang them up. So there's a couple of different ways that I'll show you that you can hang them up. The first one being is you just grab your trousers, hold them by the sides there, fold them together like so, and then you just grab a good quality hanger, place it on there, and then unbunch it. So make sure that it's all unbunched there and it hangs down there. Now, the problem with using this method is that this part of the coat hanger will eventually leave a line on the inside of your DPC trousers. So the way we can move around that is there's a couple of different methods we can use. So that's one way of doing it. You put the shirt on the top, one method of doing it. Another method is we use a dedicated trouser hanger by the waistband, and we hold it up there. So the only part that is going to be in contact with the hangers are these parts here, which is covered by the shirt anyway. So that's another method of doing it. And another way is by the waistband as well. This time we've folded the trousers in half and placed the dedicated trouser hook on the waistband. Okay, you can conversely hang the trousers by the cuffs using the same methods, whichever way comes across is easiest for you. Bear in mind, the steam station is also useful when you want to go over and get rid of any wrinkles that you've noticed from handling it from the ironing board. Just hold up the iron to the trousers and use it as a steamer. So just use it as a steamer and get rid of any of those little wrinkles that may have appeared due to the handling process, and then you're good to go. G'day, welcome to the summary slide of how to iron Australian DPCU trousers. For the preliminaries, make sure you wash your trousers with your shirt and you actually name them on the inside with a felt pen. Check the threads. Once they're brand new, they have threads everywhere on these things, so make sure you go through and de-thread them, and also as you're ironing, make sure you go through and take any threads out that you notice whilst you're ironing. Have your iron set up on a temperature of a medium to high setting, and if you haven't already viewed the iron station setup for success, please view that before continuing on. So I incorporate a systematic approach to ironing. For the uniforms, the DPCU trousers, place it on the narrow end of the board and iron as you go, and then rotate it through onto the narrow end of the board. So do the front, rotate onto the back, make sure you remove the inner pocket lining because that's bunched up on the inside. You'll never have a flat surfaced iron. Okay, continue to rotate onto the front, and then once again remove the inner pocket lining and use the narrow end of the board. After we've done that, we move on to ironing the pockets. We've already partially ironed the pockets when we've done the front part, but if on inspection you decide that you need to iron the pockets, make sure you do that by repositioning the legs onto the ironing board and make sure they're flat. Once you've done the pockets, we move on to ironing the legs. We use the entire board for that, and we make sure that all the seams are placed on the side of the ironing board, and we bunch the knees up. So the knee area is bunched up, and that leaves us a nice firm surface for the lower part of the legs. Once we've done that, we then hang up, and there's a few methods that we've discussed there on how to do that. You make sure the zips are fastened, and then you're ready to go. That whole process takes a very short period of time just by using that method I've shown you. So thanks for your time.